I'm going to be speaking with the great Ashley Slater, and you know, if you've heard me and Ashley on the radio before, you know what to expect. Going to be talking to him after listening to his latest little beat combo number. This is Tell Me Something Good.
Show to set your stuff on fire. You refuse to put anything before your pride. Well, what I got will knock your pride aside. There was 48 hours a day. Yeah, you know your problem is that you ain't been loved. You ain't been loved the way you should have been. But what I got to give, well, sure gonna do you good.
Nothing like a dose of heavy funk on a Friday. Now, if you're not exactly sure who Ashley is, then listen closely because you'll be able to hear his dulcet tones like this.
Buenas tardes, España.
Yes, indeed. The man himself is back in glorious Technicolor in stereophonic and 8-track thing. Ash Slater. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well, my dear friend. My dearest friend, in fact.
Yes. You find yourself immortalized in what we in the trade call a stab there, Ash, you see?
That's beautiful, mate. If I died tonight, I would be happy.
And imagine
I wouldn't be the only one.
Well, we do have history on this particular one, don't we? Now, for those who don't know, Ash and I go back a long way. So strangely, we never actually met in person. It's one of those. It's like having a pen pal. It's like we have a great time. We giggle at the same stuff. We have a rather eclectic taste in music, to put it mildly. But physically, I think we are. It's a bit like being. I'm Thunderbird 5. You never knew exactly what he did, but he wasn't allowed on Tracy Allen. It was obviously something so hideous and devious, illegal, immoral, or fattening that he had to do whatever he was doing up there on a spaceship on his own, whilst you, Ash, are enjoying the fruits of your labours in the old country, yeah?
Ja, ich bin ein Berliner.
So whereabouts are you? Because last time, the second before last time, for those of a mathematical bent, you were down on the wilds of Andalusia. You were sort of west. You'd gone deep and deep in country. You were sort of well of a way,
That's
weren't
right.
you?
I could almost lick the Algarve from my bedroom window.
Which is why you had to leave, obviously.
I did get caught. Yeah, there were questions asked and photographs taken. Well, Giles, what's happened is I never planned this for myself, but basically I've turned into what they call a digital nomad.
Ooh.
Not a digital gonad. That's a whole different thing. But yeah, digital. So because all I need is a computer and a microphone. And I don't even need two turntables. So Beck, he can sod right off with his stupid idea. So yeah.
And you made the move to Germany.
I did, yeah, and it was because of. I'll tell you how it happened. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there seems to be an altercation taking place in Ukraine.
Really?
And yeah, and some of my friends left Ukraine and ended up in this little German town called Chemnitz, which is actually formerly Karl Marx Stadt. So there's huge, big sculptures of Karl Marx's head everywhere, which is nice.
Yeah.
He was one of the great, philosophers of the 20th century. So why not?
Yeah, him and his brother Groucho, but that's another story.
He was far funnier, obviously. But that was the one thing. He was definitely the Marx brother, just didn't fit in. And I can see why, he went down the kind of the communist thing. He's probably angry. Harpo. What the hell? If you can't even be funnier than Harpo, what?
Exactly.
So, now, what was we going to talk about?
You're there with our very, because with Freak Power back,
yeah.
and then it seems like a million years ago, but before this bleeding awful war, you'd spent a lot of time in Odessa, hadn't you? And that's where you met up with some very good, made some very good Ukrainian friends.
Yeah, exactly. And we are still friends. And basically one of my best mates from Ukraine ended up in this place called Chemnitz because we were I don't know what. Yeah, we were. Anyway, we were. So here we are. Oh, Chemnitz. So Chemnitz is in a really rather kind of funky place, which is about 2 hours south of Berlin and 2 hours west of Prague. So it's right there, baby.
You're right. Middle Europa styly.
Smack dab, mate. Smack dab. I'm a Saxon guy now. I'm a proper Saxon, not an Anglo-Saxon. I'm a Saxon.
I know last time we spoke to was it Kitchen or whatever. It was a Kit Kat Chin. I can't remember what they were called.
Kimchi Cat.
That's the one.
About. Yeah.
Ukrainian pop on steroids, basically. They were like a small Eastern European who's had far too many fizzy drinks, basically. But last I saw of them, they were doing New York, and then they went to Miami. And then I said, you must get into contact with a very good friend of mine whose family are Italian Americans, were involved in construction and now run fishing boat trips. And I never heard from them again. So hopefully they made it back.
Well, that's because I think they ended up eating with the fishes and wearing the concrete boots.
Exactly.
So, no, they're actually here in Germany. They've come back because we're about to start on our third album. And we've written 2 songs from that album, which I don't know, I've probably sent you, but
So tell me something good then, because that's a Stevie Wonder classic. It's heavy on the funk, but my goodness, you've gone to the funk store, you've taken out the funk spread with added funk, and you've funked it quite completely.
Yeah, and I added a little sprinkling of extra funk as well. Well, I don't know what happened. I make covers if some people's hobby is to collect stamps or send pictures of their genitals to each other on WhatsApp.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But I've seen it. And mine Well, I say I've seen it. I think there was. My iPhone screen is very small.
It's right. Yes. It was a cold day. It was a cold day in the Andalus Mountains that day, you know.
In the winter. It was winter. Okay, so what were we talking about?
We're talking about putting funk on back where it rightfully belongs, actually.
That's right. Well, so, yeah, my hobby is making cover versions of songs. And I think usually somebody says, hey, why don't you tell me something good or do this or do that? So then I just go, yeah, all right then. So yeah, me. I went for it, and then I got my main man from England, Tony Remy, on guitars, and the rest of it is all just like computadora.
Yeah.
So, and then the singer Tonya is kind of pretty famous in the Czech Republic. She's actually American, but she used to sing with a band called Monkey Business, who are very big here or there. I mean, it's only a couple hours down the road, but yeah, they were very big there. Then what happened? Then I got my mate Paul Ewing, who actually used to be a BBC children's presenter, but one of the ones that wasn't a paedophile.
Yeah, okay. Right, yeah. Okay. It's live, Ash, just so we know.
He was in
case any of the BBC legal team are listening, he did actually say alleged, but obviously we had to bleep out the alleged bit.
Yeah, he was on. He lives in Thailand now. But
oh, blimey! Yeah, of course, no problem there whatsoever.
No, nothing. All perfectly normal, mate. Perfectly normal. And then my other mate, Stefan Ashton Frank, who is actually very well known in the UK, even if you don't know him, and he does all the interstitials for Channel 4.
Right,
and also
explain to those who aren't subscribers to Interstitial Weekly what that actually is.
Well, yeah, you should take out a subscription to Interstitial Weekly, obviously. They're the announcements, the continuity announcements, I think, is another.
Yes, and next on Channel 4, Gardeners Weekly. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. And so he does those, and I think he also does ITV3 or ITV4 or something, which I always thought was very weird. How could they have the same guy doing the interstitials on two channels which should be locked in Mortal Kombat for ratings?
Well, probably because their listenership has sworn to never actually press that button and go off another channel. They actually their TVs are actually physically glued onto that channel, and they're condemned to watch nothing but ITV4 or until the second coming of, I don't know, Terry Wogan or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And rightly so. So yeah, anyway, so Stefan Ashton Frank, he's on it. He used to sing backups for, I don't know how long before, but he definitely did sing backing vocals with George Clinton and band and all that kind of stuff. Back in the day, long back in the day. And he grew up in California, not very far from where I grew up in California. So we met in London, but we became good mates because we could talk about Mendocino or blah, 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 blah. Anyway, very, 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 very boring. But that is the Eastern Funk entity, and I've already written the next single. And I sent it to Paul, and I said, do you want to sing on that? And he said, well, there's no room. So I called him a sissy.
Right.
I said, if you can't wedge something in there, who even are you? Who are you?
Yeah, but if he's sung with George Clinton, he's probably got to get the big star-shaped glasses on and those moon boots and the honey and his cape, and then get the mothership over to Prague. You know what it's like this time of the year with air traffic control.
Lazy. These people are lazy. They won't commit. This is the problem.
So that's the Eastern Funk. What is it, Eastern Funk Collective or something, or Eastern Funk Entity. Sorry.
I went for entity because no band has ever called themselves an entity, and yet they are all of them are entities.
True. And you didn't want to call it Eastern Funk Enterprise, otherwise you get loads of Trekkies turning up at your gigs, all wearing red shirts, because you know what happens to the guys in the red shirts. And away from
just a little bit too tight.
Yes, just a little bit too tight. I actually interviewed Shatner once, and that was an experience. I can assure you that was an experience and a half. I
bet that was absolutely mental.
He's bonkers. I mean, he is proper bonkers. He'd done a film called Gonzo Ballet because he fancied himself, believe it or not, an expert on the ballet. play, and
right.
he was as mad as the proverbial box of frogs on mescaline. I mean, he really was, you know.
Yeah.
And when asked, it was when the Star Trek reboot had just come out, and I asked him, or he was asked, because they put us in a pit with him. They wouldn't let him do one-on-one, and they said, "Why do you think you weren't included in the?" Because when they did the Star Wars, people make cameos, don't they? Wookiee comes on, and he said, "Well, why don't you think you weren't allowed on the reboot of Star Wars?" And he just shouted out, "I don't know!" like that, completely lost it.
No, he's funny. He's pretty old, isn't he? But he seems to be remarkably together. We were watching some Boston Legal, maybe, or some TV series that he did.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it was brilliant. He's a Canadian. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, having last seen him on TV, because I don't watch TV, on TJ Hooker in The Girdle, I think that's about as much as you ever wanted to see. Now, tell us about Hip Kit Records, because I'm a man who likes his skulls. And so therefore, this is why I said when you posted this new project of yours, I said, will there be merch? Because if it's got a skull, a moustache, a monocle and a top hat, I'm your man.
Right. Mate, I will make a T-shirt just for you. That is the kind of guy I am. I'm the kind of guy who makes crazy promises and never keeps them.
Well, welcome to my world. Yeah, exactly. But what is Hip Kit? Is this you branching into the way? I mean, are you going to be basically, becoming a big? Have you sold out? Actually, are you going to become a big record producer? In the back of the Lincoln Continental with a huge cigar and willing acolytes to your every depraved, servicing your every depraved need and whim.
Well. See, the thing is, Giles, that depraved people, they're generally rich, and I'm not rich, so I don't think I'm ever going to be depraved. I've escaped the depravity loop, but I had this little label, and I noticed it was like churning. I mean, I've got 4 tracks on it, but it earns a little bit of money every month. And to be honest, my personal life was a little wild for a while. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
And that is not the case anymore. So I'm actually able to go, right, I need to do something. So this label is Hip Kit Records. I couldn't be asked to change the name. But basically, I'm going to put out all kinds of stuff on there. I've got a really beautiful duets album coming out on that. And I'm putting out all the Kinchy Cat stuff on there. Yeah. And I don't think I'll ever be a mogul, or however you pronounce that word. Yeah. Maybe it's mogul. Maybe. But I like mogul. If you're rich, you can pronounce it how you. Yes, the rest of the world pronounce it mogul, but I am different, and I pronounce it mogul. I am the mogul. Yeah. So I want to be a mogul.
Okay.
But on a very, I think the best we're going to get is probably being handed incredibly cheap speed in the back of a tuk-tuk.
I dream of that. That's what... That would be. You've had your stab. I'm in the back of a tuk-tuk, heading to see your mate at the BBC. Somebody gives me a cheap line of coast to my marching powder, and it's game over. Yeah. That's the top of my game. Yeah.
What more could you ask for, really, from life? Especially a man at my age.
In the first flush of youth, actually, yes, indeed.
We've got that, and what else am I? I've got this single out with Warriors of the Discotheque at the moment. Be My Star, that's rather lovely. And then, I just thought, well, if I'm making a little bit of money from 4 releases, I must be able to make a little bit more money from, let's say, 30 releases. So I'm going for it.
The other thing is the thing that struck me is that, there you are because, Werther is beautiful. And, like I said, when you're not trying to lick Portugal in your spare time and and again, I must stop you sending those pics, but please don't send me any more of your tongue. Presumably there's a, we're talking Germany, we're talking, Poland. These are people who like to party. Yeah. I saw something about the trance train the other day. It goes around the German rail system with a bunch bunch of, German techno freaks. Oh, yeah. Google it, Ash. There's a thing called the techno train. It comes out of Berlin. It looks absolutely brilliant. I mean, had it been back in the day, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, when we were frolicking, and I use that word, yeah, we would have been frolicked so bad, we probably would have been frolicking all the way to Clapham Junction. But yeah, check it out when we finish this interview, obviously. But it's the techno train.
I will say that they what I like about this part of the world is that they don't actually mind if you're an old guy. If your music's nice, they're just like, okay, cool. I like this music. I like it. I want to listen to it every day. So, and they will, So you can, and of course, the freak power thing doesn't hurt because, people who haven't yet got dementia can still remember Turn On, Tune In.
I'm so glad that you bring that up. Sorry, go on. It's your interview.
I'm mining the linty wallets of the elderly here. Basically, that's what I'm going for.
Yes, but people go. I was when the vault came down. We played Rush because it was so good. Yeah. I mean,
I do get that. I do get that. It's genuinely nice. It is nice, And sometimes, Giles, people say to me, "Oh man, don't you ever get tired of singing that song?" And I'm like, "No, you wouldn't be talking to me right now if I hadn't sung that song." So I owe that song love.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're looking. I was just talking to a promoter here. He wants to put the duets album thing on the road.
Okay.
And he was like, obviously, would you do Turn On and Tune In? And I was like, yeah, of course I would, mate. No, that's all in the past now. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it is, I remember I was living in Brighton at the time, and I remember watching this guy he was being basically molested by a small monkey on his bald head. And as a small man with a bald head, I was just dreaming about having a monkey at that point. But it gets to you are today, and and I went and bought the CD, Kids Ask Your Parents, of Drive Through Booty, and it was like, oh, this is brilliant. Moonbeam Woman is still one of the great tracks, as is Rush in my humble opinion. So you can't say somebody, no, I'm not going to play that song that brought me, that put me in the public eye, because now I've moved on from there. That's just rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, it is rubbish. And frankly, nobody wants to hear any of my other songs. So, so I think I owe anybody who has paid money to come and see me, I owe them a couple of songs like that. Of course I do, and I have absolutely no qualms about making my audience happy, which is always the thing I wanted to do. Even when I was in, like Loose Tubes and doing jazz and stuff like that, people were like, there were a lot of people who would say, we don't play for the audience, man. We play for ourselves. And that is true. But my thinking also was, well, hang on a minute. This guy's got some crap job that he probably hates.
Yeah.
And he goes and he does it every day. And he's given me some of his very hard-earned cash. I'm going to give him a show. I don't want him thinking about his overdraft or his wife's lover while they're in there watching, my gig. I want them just focused, being in the moment, baby. In the moment. Just in the moment. You know what I mean? Just like totally like living in the moment.
Let's talk of which. I just want to ask you a question, because, hey man, you're in the public eye and you do gigs on a regular occurrence. And I've been to a couple of them recently. And I went to see, this time last year, I went to see Nile Rodgers, who is obviously God on earth, proof that, there is a benevolent being and he loves us. And I was on, I was on row 7. So, I mean, he was close enough to touch, and he's just brilliant. And I've interviewed him a few times.
Smell him.
I could bask in his brilliance. Here's another one I wrote. Bam. Oh, blimey, right? So
I know the guy. It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
The number of hits.
And it's not only that, it's also the amount of stuff that he's had sampled. And you just go, oh my goodness, that's too. Yeah. But in front of me, there was a family in front of me who had mobile phones. And not only did they spend the entire time filming the gig when he was 12 foot from them, but the youngest one was filming Niall, then turning the phone on themselves and then typing something in TikTok. And you just thought, in the moment.
what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. And then who goes home and thinks, oh, well, I'll just watch that gig that I didn't see because I was filming it. I know, I'll watch it on my phone with really rubbish sound and it's super tiny. And if you're going to do that, stand at the back.
Yeah, basically. In fact, just throw money over. Give your money to somebody who wants to go and see the gig. Who's like who's a fun star.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I did learn a valuable lesson though from that concert, which I think I will now do to any other concert I go to, and not try and be, because I was trying to be a bit posh and a bit smooth, so I decided to wear brogues. You don't wear brogues to a concert because the next morning your feet will
brogues.
Yeah, I was wearing my stylish brogues because I was trying to be a bit Mediterranean, dude.
God's sake,
I know.
Get a grip.
I know.
Nobody wears brogues to a gig. You're probably the only guy with brogues on in that crowd that night.
Yeah, damn right. I mean, I am not a number. I am the.
I am a brogue.
The brogued Avenger. It's a Marvel. Hey, Ash, I can see a new Marvel comic series. Yeah,
I have a job for you. A job for you at the Brogue Marketing Board, because they rang me and I was like, mate, I'm Crocs now. But I'm going to propose you for this gig.
Hip Cat Records, in association with the Brogued Avenger, present the Middle European Experience. Now, I can see it now. But and talking about,
you can call. Here's the thing.
Go on.
Like shoes, why not have a brogue mant?
Oh, okay. Brogue.
What do you think? What do you think?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a completely unfashionable set of footwear? No, it's brogue man. Yes. Quick, meet me at the fun concert. I'm sorry, I can't. The memories will come flooding back. Talking about memories flooding back, he said seamlessly. If you're doing duets, are they going to get the monkey back then for tune in? Or perhaps they could get somebody in a monkey suit to some willing female acolyte. Here we go again for your mogul to prance around on your head. How about that for a thought?
I'm going to put a baby in a monkey suit and hope that it doesn't suffocate before we film.
Yeah, that'd be good. I can see that. Yeah. All PR is good PR, Ash, as we said before.
Exactly. I mean, what's manslaughter really? But just an unhappy. It's just a unhappy accident, right?
Yes.
Come on.
So
cutting some slack here, guys.
Right. So apart from having now slated both the BBC and probably got the child protection officers on me, it's Friday. What's the weekend got? What have you got planned? So we're in the middle of a steaming summer of soul, Ash. So what have you got? What's coming up? What can we look forward to coming out of Mark's the Disneyland Mark's project, otherwise known as where you live at the moment?
Well, I've got a rather boring weekend lined up. I have sex on Sundays.
That's good to know. With anybody we know, or just on yourself?
Just if there's anyone around.
Okay.
I mean, they know that if you come over on a Sunday, that's part of the deal. So basically, nobody ever comes over here on a Sunday.
Yeah. The villagers turn up with torches, kill the monster.
Yeah. But tomorrow I've got I got roped into doing. I could tell this story because the dude will never hear it.
Okay,
but this guy was.
We have a lot. We have listeners around the globe. Thank you very much, Slater.
He won't. Trust me. He's in Chemnitz. But this guy is. He's a. I think he's a Venezuelan or something. So I'm like, I love salsa, right? Yeah. The music, not the sauce. And I used to play in a couple of salsa bands in London. It's just pure high energy, like, wow! It is like doing drugs without having to do drugs, which is, for me and my current financial state, this is perfect. So he's like, okay, we're going to do, got a salsa band. I'm like, bro, I'm in, I'm here. So I've already had 2 rehearsals this week. This is live gigs for you.
Right.
So the gig pays like €100.
Wow. There you go.
It's a 1 hour set, but we have to have 4 rehearsals to learn the music, which all last 3 hours. So you end up, well, you're working for what? Less than like €8 an hour or something in the end of it. This is why I don't do too many live shows. The gigs are other level. So anyway, I've got another rehearsal for that, rehearsal number 3, tomorrow. And then I'm planning to do probably not a lot, But then Sunday, sex.
Right.
Come
okay.
over.
I would do. Unfortunately, you know, obviously, I've got my even song to write at that point, you know, and the lake needs polishing, as you know. Doing a salsa gig though, I mean, because of your, are you tromboning on that one, presumably?
Yeah, I'm not going to try and sing like, you know, an hour's worth.
Venezuelan. Yeah, but the thing is, though, I mean, it's great. It's like because you know, there's a station down here called Tropical, strangely enough, and there's a great Cuban beach bar down on the coast called Rancho Cubero, and it's South American paradise. All the South Americans go down there and they salsa the hearts, and it's great for about an hour. But after 2 hours of the music, I mean, if you're not an aficionado, it kind of just sounds like the Mambo Kings are having a, you know,
Giles,
yeah.
I'm going to agree with you here. It's fun to play, possibly less fun to like be in the audience for any more than 10 minutes.
Mojitos are important. There's a lot of tequila at Rancho Cubero, but unfortunately, you know, we are not allowed to do that because we turned pro too early and got life-changing injuries.
Yeah. I still regret that.
Listen, believe it or not, I'm gonna run out of time because we've been chatting for half an hour. Doesn't time go quickly when you now?
When you're talking to me, yes.
Yeah. We're on the Zoom call, so you can see me, but I can't see you. So, are you wearing the Carmen Miranda salsa outfit that you're going to be playing with tomorrow night? That's what I want to know.
I have got a pineapple on my head, 2 oranges to, you know, avoid showing my nipples to anyone, and a massive plantain.
And I think at that point, that will be used in another stab as well. Go for Hip Kit Records is on the nearest Instagram by. If people want to check you out, if you're pardon the expression, and any greengrocers want to sponsor you for further gigs, then where can they find you on the My social name on socials is the same for Twitter, if that's still going, I don't know. Instagram, which is an absolute lie, and Facebook, and it's Ashley Slater 247. And I am constantly posting like all of everything that I do. So if you are genuine, if you are that person who is interested, please join me. And I'll follow you back because I'm not a snob. Man of the people, Ashley Slater. As always, mate, been great to speak to you. Check him out on all the socials. Ashley Slater, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, my dear, dear friend. And I can't wait to come and see you.
And as I think we'll sign off with one more of these.
Buenas tardes, España.
Worth the price of entrance alone. Ashley Slater, thank you so much for your time today.